welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Healing Heart circle, and it's great that we can continue with this. Today the healing target is your self-worth, your self-esteem, how is that related to me? How am I looking at that? How am I experiencing myself? Am I experiencing myself as worthy, or all of this? Now, in your human description of yourself, your worthiness might vary, but is that the same in God's mind? Is that the same? Is there also okay, if you do right, then your worthiness goes up, and if you do wrong, no, of course not. But so we're going to take a look at how that works. And chapter 4 of A Course in Miracles is very, very, very helpful for that, because it dives into the idea of the root of all evil. And that sounds like a pretty interesting chapter. So we're going to take a look at that later on. And what is the healing heart? So an essential part in the healing heart is also to quiet down your concepts, to quiet down your ideas about yourself, your concerns. In other words, it's like a moment to release those thoughts, to release your tension, to release your concerns. And it is like the possibility here is entering into an openness of mind, an openness of your heart, of coming in contact with your soul. The soul is easy. It's easy to contact your soul when your mind is quiet and your heart is open. And then you feel the essence of your connectedness to God. So that flows out of that, you can say, that radiates through you when you're open. And when that does not occur, when you in fact are not completely open, it seems like you can never reach it. It seems to be completely gone. And this is exactly the thing then with healing, is that can open up. It's not just by your doing, but it is more like there's a possibility here to come to, and it's I want to hand this over. I don't need this any longer. I'm going to give this away. I don't know how to be open. I don't know how to open my heart. Well, I do some things for it. For instance, I say thank you, or I love you. And but that's about it. And I release my ideas about my brother, for instance. That can help very well too. Now, that's why we do this, especially in this hour. We take it easy. We go through different phases of coming to the place where actually you can be open. Now, the place where you can be open is in fact a place of vulnerability. It could feel like that, but also the place where you actually have nothing to lose anymore. Now that is a really beautiful place to meet, when you recognize that literally there's nothing to lose. All of my ideas about losing things, or losing someone, or losing something is related to a superficial perceptual mind that looks for safety where it cannot be found. So going beyond that, below that, really, it is here is an opportunity to come in touch with what is always there. What do I need to do? If it's always there, I cannot lose it. So by releasing my mind of all the things that I'm holding on to, all the ones that I'm holding on to, all the ideas that I'm holding on to, but I definitely don't want to lose. If I release those ideas, I can actually come to a place where there is that what I cannot lose. That's healing, of course. That is what healing is. That's the place where we meet, in fact. Otherwise, if you still protect yourself, if you still think you can lose something, well, then there's no communication, because you separate yourself off, you keep an eye out, and you become almost like paranoia for every movement or every suggestion that's being made, thinking that something can be taken away from you. And this is normal, it's like human response to holding things together. Like if you try to hold it together, if you try to hold your world together, then you will have to defend yourself, then you will lose your openness. You will literally not experience that what will be with you always. And that is basically what you're looking for at the same time. So that's the paradox we step into with healing. You want this safety and security, and at the same time you don't want to lose what you hold on to. Now those two cannot coexist like that. Those two are not working together. It's either this you drop, what you hold on to as your safety and comfort, you drop, so you can be open to receive what is always there and will always be your fortress, what always will be your security and safety. Now this of course we read in chapter 4 too, and also there are so many biblical references to this specific part in chapter 4. One of them is Psalm 46, and it's a very familiar for us. It's a very familiar psalm because Joel Goldsmith uses it all the time. Like he uses it all, not in every talk, but almost every talk. You will see what I mean. When, for instance, when he uttereth his voice, the earth melteth. That's in the King James Version. So it's like that is a very familiar expression. And there's more, you'll see. So we're going to step into like releasing the ideas, releasing our concerns, releasing that what you want to protect, and carefully giving it over to something more reliable in order to have a totally different experience of yourself, where you don't have to hold on to anything, or you don't have to protect yourself at all. In other words, we're entering into a possibility here of a place where you can be completely vulnerable, where you can be completely open and come in touch with the soul's song, you could say, the soul's universe. God is our fortress. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth gives way, though the mountains be moved into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble at its swelling. Selah. There is a river whose stream makes glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God will help her when morning dawns. The nations rage, the kingdoms totter. He utters his voice, the earth melts. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, how he has brought desolation on the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our fortress. Selah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. To come into this quiet, but also to see, it's like this Psalm 46 is also the instruction of be still and know that I am God. So this is my fortress. This is my security. And the interesting part is, I read it today, like in the course, like God is not in you, you are in God. And that feels kind of enveloping, like feels very safe, like I am in God. God is not in me, but I am in God. And so God is my fortress. It's literally where I move. I move in God. That is with me. Now, be still doesn't have exceptions. Like, that's the place to come to in order to connect. Right? You have to be still. You have to be open and still to receive. Now this is important in the situations that you're in. That is always the answer. All right, so like I promised, I'm going now. I'll keep my promise here. We're going to open up some chapter 4 from A Course in Miracles, just to take another look at the idea of worthiness. And worthiness, yeah, the worldly worthiness is what's your net worth. What is your net worth is like how much money do you have in the bank, or what is that? Like, okay, if that establishes your worth, like that is not going to be it. So we're looking at it in a totally different way and see if there's any action involved for that, or what are the mechanisms around the idea of self-worth, of worth in general. And when I say practicality, is like we're going to open up the healing circle in a moment, but then, okay, what is happening? All right, so here, your worth is established by God. So that title must come from somewhere. So we're going to see. Stepping right into chapter 4, your own worth is not established by your teaching. Your worth was established by God. As long as you dispute this, everything you do will be fearful, and particularly any situation which lends itself easily to the superior-inferior fallacy. Whether you are superior or inferior, are you capable in the situation, all of this, all the normal human considerations that you can have in, for instance, a meeting or in any encounter. It's like if you look at things in this way, into a superior inferior idea, then there's always fear connected to it. Whether you choose your superiority or your inferiority. Now here we bypass this in the sense that your worth was established by God. But hold on here. The ego is afraid, it might be a step to you, like this is 7 paragraphs further. The ego is afraid of the soul's joy because once you have experienced the soul's joy, you will withdraw all protection from your ego and become totally without investment in fear. Your investment is great now because fear is a witness to the separation, and your ego rejoices when you witness of it. See, these are eye-openers, like big-time eye-openers. So the ego is basically you as a human being with your own self-idea, self-definition, are afraid of the soul's joy. Because it is like once you have experienced that, you don't need the ego. Like you don't need the so-called protection from the ego and all that what comes with it, all the sacrifice that comes with it. In fact, you become free of the investment in fear. Now Jesus says your investment is great in fear is great now, because fear is a witness to the separation. Like you hold that fear close to you, otherwise you would disappear in heaven's joy, in the soul's joy. And for now you keep yourself in this construct of separation and fear. But here's the calling. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it, and do not preserve it. Do not listen to the ego's rejoice. Leave it behind. Do not listen to it, and do not preserve it. There's literally nothing to lose by giving up that what frightens you, that what tells you that you're not good enough, that what tells you that like you are superior over others. Like, don't listen to that. Now here we come back to our Psalm 46. It's like the certainty is here. Be still. Listen only to God, who is as incapable of deception as are the souls that he created. As teachers and therapists, release yourselves and release others. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, or accept such a picture of them yourselves. Now, this is huge. Huh? This is already okay. Now we're really stepping into it. So, seeing yourself as a teacher of God or a therapist, whatever you want to call yourself, like a teacher of God. Release yourself and release others. How do you do that? Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others. In other words, recognize where your value is established by. Recognize that your value is established by God, not by your ideas about yourself. Or accept from anyone a picture of themselves as that, as inferior, as superior, as something else than the perfect creation of God. The ego has built a shabby and unsheltering home for you because it cannot build otherwise. Do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Its weakness is your strength. Only God could make a home that was worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. Like, do not try to make this impoverished house stand. Let it fall apart. Let this ego house fall apart. Let all your considerations as you have them about yourself, thinking that you're not worthy of it, let it fall apart. It is not about doing things right or wrong. It is not about judging yourself. It is not about analyzing yourself. It is not about comparing yourself. Its weakness is your strength. Only God could make a home that was worthy of his creations, who have chosen to leave it empty by their own dispossession. His home will stand forever and is ready for you when you choose to enter. Of this you can be wholly certain. God is as incapable of creating the perishable as your ego is of making the eternal. One more biblical reference. The meek shall inherit the earth because their egos are humble, and this gives them better perception. The kingdom of heaven is the right of soul, whose beauty and dignity are beyond doubt, beyond perception, and stand forever as the mark of the love of God for his creations, who are wholly worthy of him, and only of Him. Nothing else is sufficiently worthy to be a gift for a creation of God Himself. Nothing else is sufficiently worthy to be a gift for a creation of God Himself. So that shifts the idea of, at the beginning of the chapter, it says, in order to, say, recognize your worthiness, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to prove anything. Like literally, it is not about the action, but it's about the recognition. Like, who is it that created me? Am I recognizing that as my source? That's what this is about. So all the considerations that you can have where you feel feel not enough, when you feel that you're failed, when you feel that you're trying to hold it together but it doesn't work out and you have a problem with that, or any kind of consideration where you in fact have to admit, like, I lose this, where I find myself in, I lose the control, or I lose the that what I could do before. Don't see that as a failure, but really as, let whatever is perishable crumble in order to come to what is eternally yours. So this is, of course, in a very short way shared with you the worthiness that is established by God, which is written in chapter 4, like I said. So it's like, it's great to use it to go through the chapter 4, the specific part, right teaching and right learning. That's the second section from chapter 4. That's a really beautiful section to go through and to discover what it actually means to be worthy. Like, you have in fact nothing to say about it. Your worthiness is established by God and secured forever. Like, there's nothing that can take that away from you. In your dream, it can look like you chose to be unworthy of some things, or like things are happening and you think that is because you're not worthy of it. Now, this is just a mistake. This is just literally a description of yourself that has nothing to do with the way that you are created. Now, that is the basis behind the dream. You could say this is the basis coming from truth. For you to recognize this is the actual thing that is true about you. Now, how to return to that? Like, how to come into that? Well, be still was one thing that we said. It's like, return back to where your source is. Where is your source? You go within to encounter it, to come in touch with it. Because it's like you are part of God. You want to experience that. Now, here it says too, the meek will inherit the earth. And that does mean, like, if your egos are low, if you are willing to step back, if you are willing to give up, if you're willing to admit, like, I made a mistake, or I was wrong, or when you step back out of the situation where you actually say, I don't know how to respond to any of this, but I'm willing and open to receive that. I cannot make it up. I cannot pretend that I know what's the best for everyone involved. It is so, in fact, it is, in the experience of it, it is so certain and so familiar to you that you actually carry it with you. And this is basically where you return back to. It is always there. That's why we say, like, dive into the devastation that you feel. Stay on the bottom of your heart, like, stay on the bottom of, basically stay, to a certain extent, stay in your human depression. Go deeper into it, not to become more depressed, but to see, like, none of this makes sense. I come to the bottom of it. I come to the absolute bottom of myself that I have no idea how to get out of this. Exactly in that spot is your salvation. This is the spot where you can be open, where you give up every idea that you hold about solving your situation. So that is the healing part of this. Like you will come to the place where you become willing to do that and to basically stay there. This is like where I hang out. I say this many times to many that I meet. I'm like, this is the place where I can actually meet you. Because up to that point, you're still defending your situation or thinking that it needs acknowledgement because it has a right to be there. And it's like, no, nobody learns through pain. No, nobody learns through suffering. Nobody learns through the things that you think you have to go through in order to get this or so. Like as if a sacrifice is asked. Like, no, drop all that. Now when you let go of all of that, all that is perishable, all that changes, all that is for a moment valuable to you but doesn't have lasting value, release all of that to come with open, wholly open hands to exactly the spot of, in fact, the altar of God. Do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, or accept such a picture of them yourselves. So this is like release each other. Don't refer back to anything you think you know about anyone or yourself. But do not present a false and unworthy picture of yourself to others, or accept such a picture of them yourselves. Listen only to God. So it's like, yeah, that's not so easy to practice together, but it's great to see that you have an opportunity to do that and see how that works. So in other words, be aware of what picture you are actually, say, presenting to your brother and you are accepting about yourself. Like, keep an eye on this idea that you were created perfectly, that everything is given you,